Hi Jen, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hi, good to see you.
Likewise. So today's topic is account-based research versus generalized outreach for the lead generation. Opening question would be when and how you think we should adopt either technique.
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's coming up with the larger companies that we work for, that they want to focus on account-based research and account-based marketing. So I would say the biggest difference is how big is the company that you're targeting? If it's a small company with owner, founder, manager, then really you've only got to decide by one or two decision makers. If it's a much larger corporate and there are different departments within the company with different decision-making hats who could make the decision to buy from you, maybe the user is different to the person with budget, who's different to the person who's the beneficiary, then you want to go for more account-based marketing and research. And so it's really, yeah, it just comes down to the size of the company that you're targeting. And then from there, the approach. Yeah. So, how are you finding it impacting your work with data research?
I think apart from what you said, the second factor could be about the market itself. If you are going after untapped market or you have thousands of prospects to reach out to, I think generalized outreach with certain level of personalization is better approach because you'll have plenty of data and you need to go through it as soon as possible to get the most out of it. But if it's the other way around and you have a very limited scope of prospects, then I think account-based marketing, account research based marketing is something which is more suitable. But both have their pros and cons, right? Before we get into that, I have just one more question for you. Apart from the market size, do you think the ticket size of the service or the product itself have any impact on the decision for either technique?
Yeah, definitely. So I would say the ticket size is straying up into high five figures, six figures, even seven figures. You definitely want to, there's probably less people in the market to target. You want to be much more specific about who you target because the return for that is so much higher, right? So it becomes
Mhm.
less about hunting rabbits and more about hunting elephants. And you spend more time to win the one elephant than you do to spend time to, win the 10 rabbits or something like that. So it's really that kind of cost benefit ratio. The reason to do broad general marketing is if there's a lot of companies who could potentially buy what you offer. You don't know who exactly is in the buying mode right now, and you just want to reach out to a bunch of them and see who bites. And also, you kind of just want to grow your network with this broader range of people who would know about you. Whereas if the
Mhm.
ticket size is a lot higher, you probably want to just be a bit more sniper and just go after them and say, I really just want a meeting with them. I want to really personalize my outreach. I really want to build a relationship with them, have this um, super niched approach because if I can establish the trust with them that they know I can solve the problem, the
Yeah.
return is so much higher for me. My whole business survives a whole year or 2 years on one client, that kind of thing. Um, yeah. So how do you think it impacts on crafting outreach messages when you talk about account-based marketing?
It will definitely have an impact on the data research and the personalization. You need to be expert on the subject up to some extent to do your research accordingly and to make sure you are doing the personalization the right way. Other than that, I think the biggest impact itself is going to be on the results of the outreach in terms of the conversion rate, overall volume, and the cost per lead. And for the account based Marketing, I think as of now, um, automation is something which is not very, like automation is not possible for this kind of marketing or the outreach itself, because again, you need to have the, certain level of expertise when you're doing the research. It's not going to be very straightforward because you are trying to break into a very complex B2B structure. So that is that. And the cost per lead would be a lot higher. Like you said, if closing one client or two clients can set you free for the whole year, so it doesn't really matter. And this is basically where I've been saying it for the last 2 3 years now, that this is where we basically stand out as an agency. We specialize in helping out complex B2B services or products, where we can do very niche research for each of our client and position their message accordingly.
Yeah, and then just everyone needs to make the decision that's right for them, what strategy to go with. And if you have multiple LinkedIn profiles, maybe you could take multiple approaches as well at the same time, up to you. Great. Thanks for your time.